Welcome to the Rant Live. Welcome to the Rant Live trade deadline special. Things are going nuts, baby. The Chicago Cubs have traded Craig Kimbrel to the Chicago White Sox. We're just now getting this information. Came from Michael Sharami at Bleacher Nation, broke it, and he's getting credit from like Ken Rosenthal and everybody. So I think that's really cool.
That is cool. Absolutely. I'm just in the middle of trying to figure some of this stuff out and look at all these things. So it's wild.
Yeah. So behind the scenes kind of look, I'm actually writing a post right now about the trade. So we're probably going to be like working as we do the show here. But we wanted to get on at least and, have a show because it's fun to do a show during crazy moments like this. And talk about what's been going on with the Cubs. And yeah, I don't think we've got a return coming from the White Sox yet, but it looks like all the national reporters are on this Kimbrel to the White Sox.
Yeah, and I can't find confirmation anywhere. Somebody said they thought Garrett Crochet was mentioned in there, which would be phenomenal. I think of it. I'd find that hard to believe the Sox giving up Crochet in that one, but that's the triple digit throwing big giant reliever. He actually pitched against the Cubs last year there toward the end. I think even in the same game that Braylon Marquez came up. So be interesting to see how that shakes down. So and the Cubs still have to play the Sox, right? They haven't played each other yet. So the Cubs are going to face their like Tepera and Kimbrel. So if the White Sox have a lead late, which they should, based on them actually having a good team and the Cubs being down to basically AAA at that point, it'll certainly be interesting.
Yeah, you can just keep going with your thoughts while I do this.
I'm just I'm scrolling this stuff too, where this is the joy of kind of doing these things live as we do and trying to figure out for those who the big John Morosi tweets out the biggest Cubs White Sox reliever trade since Kotz for Ardsma. Neil Kotz for David Ardsma. Wow. That was fun times back in the day in 2006, baby. That was that was something. So, jeez. Yeah, this'll be interesting. So, I don't know what's going to happen, man. It's we've seen so let's go ahead and put this out there. With the knowledge, and we can kind of lament a lot of this stuff. I think people go too much, like too binary on a lot of these things, where it's like you can't be happy about the guys that got in return because Rizzo's gone, or they're like screw Rizzo, they're not screw Rizzo, but like the Cubs had to do this, you idiots. How can you be sad? It's like you can be both. Right, you can be upset that Anthony Rizzo's gone and Kris Bryant's going to be gone and John Lester. You can be upset about that, and also look at it and say, "Hey, the return they got for half a season of Rizzo, who's underperformed for the last two seasons, like the guys that got back were pretty good. Like the guys that got back, the return for Chafin, I thought was really good. The return, for
definitely
good. So it's okay.
Bob Nightingale has Nick Madrigal and Cody Hewer.
Nick Madrigal, huh? Well, there's your contact bat. Holy cow.
That's Bob Nightingale, though. So you got to take that with a grain of salt.
It's definitely not that.
With a lot of salt.
It's something entirely different.
Yeah, until somebody else confirms that, it's hard to take that at face value. Let's see. I don't know if you're seeing any White Sox. Yeah, no. I'm just seeing.
Somebody in our comments has said Crochet. I mean, again, I heard that earlier. But now we're seeing all kinds of different stuff. So I guess we'll have to kind of wait and see what shakes out from there. But yeah, if Nightingale called it, then boy, I don't know.
Like I hesitate to even put that in the post.
No, just put it out, and then is it already published? Did you publish it? Because publish it and then add later.
Okay.
Like it needs to be out.
Yeah, I gotcha.
and then we can always put more stuff in there.
Yeah, I just published it. Boom. Look, now you guys can all go read it. Everybody who's watching the show can go read the post that I just put out, which is basically the exact same information that you'll find on Twitter. Shh. Don't let everybody know our secret.
Yeah. At least for now. And then, but that's what, again, if you look at a site like MLB Trade Rumors, and that's what I talk about, like right now, all they've got is like a 2-line, it's 3-line blurb, depending on how big your screen is, I suppose. They're just like the White Sox are acquiring Craig Kimbrel via reports, reports Michael Cerami of Bleacher Nation, blah, blah, blah. That's it. That's all they got, and more to come. You know what I mean? So they'll add throughout the day, and then eventually, now their site operates different from ours. It's doesn't look quite the same, but they'll add, and that article will eventually be a few hundred words, as they put those in there. So yeah, we'll get there. Hopefully, we'll figure out what the return is here pretty soon. But
that's nuts.
You know what I was going to say? So this is, if you go back to, as I said, where is this? Is this the Nightingale one? Sorry, I'm just going through all these things. Yeah, second baseman Nick Madrigal and pitcher Cody Hoyer from the White Sox. So, Hoyer or Hewer? I don't know. Whatever.
Hewer?
So,
Hewer?
I don't know. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. So
Chicago will mispronounce his name, so it's cool.
This is going to be very interesting here over the last.
It's got to be Hewer, because otherwise, if you had Hoyer and he was
that'd be weird.
Spelled differently, that'd be too odd. I don't think we can handle that. Did you get that stuff tweeted out? Did you share that via social media?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I'm just making sure. Here we go. So this is the glory of doing a live show during the trade deadline. I'm a little bit surprised given where those stuff, but what's kind of interesting too is because you get a lot of smoke with these things, right? And we've been seeing this stuff a lot from like the Mets. The Mets are constantly bouncing around, oh, the prices are too high, asking prices are too high, we're not really that interested. Bryant, maybe. Oh, Javi, he's not that great. Like the Mets have done nothing but smokescreen this whole thing, which says to me one of two things. Either one, they're trying to downplay their interest in order to gain leverage, or two, they're not actually going to make any moves, and they are absolutely just setting this up as a PR so that when they don't make any moves and their fans get pissed that they did, which if folks will recall, I said on this show, I think it was last week or even 2 weeks ago, whenever it was that Lindor first got hurt and DeGrom got hurt, I was like, if I'm the Mets, I'm not buying now anyway, because I'm missing the best pitcher on the planet and I'm missing my shortstop, and we don't know when those guys are coming back or if they're coming back this year.
Yeah. And
so if you go and buy on a rental guy and you give up these prospects and your other stud players don't come back, now you're screwed because you spent all this stuff to do what ended up being nothing. So it'll be very interesting there though. If they get after it. So I don't think they will. I don't think the Mets will get after it, to be honest, because it sounds like they're just trying to complain about stuff unless they just all of a sudden just go balls out and make a huge move. But boy, the AL East is where I think we're seeing a lot of action right now. The Blue Jays just went out and got Jose Barrios. We've seen, the Red Sox are getting active. The freaking Yankees, not only Rizzo, but Joey Gallo, they've been going after guys. The Rays are apparently, they were talking with the Cubs and still maybe are about Bryant, but they were about Kimbrel. And you're talking, so the Rays are up there in second place right now. The Red Sox are in first. Rays are a game and a half behind, I think. And the Rays are way up in the wild, 3.5 up in the wild card for the first spot. The Blue Jays and the Yankees are way behind. But if those guys are buying, like everybody, then you got to keep up in your game. I think that AL
and that's the interesting thing.
Is crazy.
It turns into like this, like you said, like an arms race where it's just kind of like this is getting nuts.
Yeah, this is very. I am very interested in this whole deal because, it does. And now we're seeing. Yep, there we go. Mark Feinsand. The Cubs will receive Nick Madrigal and Cody Hoyer. Cody H. So Madrigal though, no power whatsoever really, but a high contact, like the dude does not strike out. And I think what you're seeing there is that's kind of that, the Cubs have seen that they need to go that route on a few fronts. And like, it's okay to have a dude who has no power. That's fine if that's who that guy's going to be. But here's the thing. What position does he play? Second base. Don't they have a bunch of second basemen? Well, what happens if Javier Baez is traded? Well, then all of a sudden, and Nico Horner's hurt right now, so for this season, but the Cubs clearly are not building for this season. And I wonder what that says, if anything, maybe nothing, but that kind of signals to me that there's an entirely good chance that Javier Baez is on the way out. and that they would end up moving Nico over to short. And I mean, for the meantime, it'd be Sergio Alcantara. But that, I mean, if we see that, imagine in the space of 24 hours seeing Anthony Rizzo, Kris Bryant, Javier Baez all traded out of Chicago.
That's hard to imagine, although it does appear like that's going to happen. I mean, again, we've got an hour and a half left here?
Yep. Hour and a half.
This is crazy. Definitely the craziest trade deadline in my life for the Chicago Cubs.
Yeah, and I do want to note on that too that Madrigal is also hurt. So what I'm making sure people understand. I'm not talking about this year what the Cubs are trying to build for. I'm talking about next year. Even if Horner's out, but if you've got Horner and Madrigal, and that's what you're looking at as maybe your middle infield combo of the future, that is entirely possible. I could see that. I could see that happening. So anyway, I just again I want to clarify because sometimes stream of consciousness gets the better of me, and I'm just kind of talking while also refreshing Twitter at a fast pace. So
yeah, it's like trying to break down. Does this seem like what you were expecting to see for Craig Kimbrel?
No,
the type of return.
It's really not, and I'm not as familiar with these guys. I'm pretty familiar with Madrigal because I remember him coming out of college, or I think it was college, right? I remember the White Sox drafting him. I know that he was just a contact stud, like an incredible contact bat. Like the dude just does not strike out, and they were super excited for him, and I know he was is hitting a ton.
Where does he rank in their system? Do you know?
Well, he was up with the big league club until he got hurt, I think, for the most part. But I don't know if he still qualifies as a prospect or not. I could try to bring it up.
I would think he does, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, because
they had Nico in there as a prospect for a while.
Yeah, I mean, it's a certain number of plate appearances before that stuff comes through, but I don't believe he's still qualified. He's not among their top 30, if so, but I do not believe he is a prospect any longer. So there you go.
So it looks like he's got over 300 plate appearances within the major leagues, and he's 24 years old. But yeah, he's on the 60-day IL, and I don't know what for.
Well, he's season-ending injury. He what did he run? I don't know. I remember it happening. My brain, as people who are listening, who are watching now, and who are going to listen to it later, are certainly going to understand this. My brain is not working very well. You could probably hear this. It's been a really shitty week, and it's going to keep getting shittier for a while here. So no, it's good here. I think. Let's see. What are we looking at here? Yeah. I mean, I feel like the Cubs have done I think it was a hamstring. Is that what he tore his hamstring or something? I know he had a shoulder injury. Madrigal, that is. But yeah, I mean, I feel like the Cubs have done a fairly good job in light of the idea that they are obvious sellers, right? They have no leverage. And these guys are, and now I know Kimbrel does have an option, and so he has a little bit more control than a lot of the other guys that they've moved. Yeah, that's there we go. Badlands came up with it. It was a torn hamstring. I knew that had happened. Once I finally figured that out. But anyway, again, I hate that this is happening, and I want to make that clear because we've discussed that many times, and I know as many people say it was necessary. No, that it was not necessary. And maybe they'll end up, again, we don't know yet what's going to happen with all these guys, but they could have extended. So you say, well, this roster, that doesn't mean that every single one of them needs to go, that you need to replace the entire roster. That's not the way this works.
But that kind of feels like that's what's happening.
But that's really what they're doing, essentially. I mean, outside of a couple guys. So, yeah, I mean, and I'm not saying, and I think after that 11-game losing, it was funny because there were still people, like we put stuff out there. There were still people at the end of that 11-game losing streak. They're like, there's still 70 games left. They could still get no, they're done. Like Jed Hoyer said it point blank. We have become sellers. He flat out said it. But I mean, again,
but it wasn't going to be like a total teardown, but this is a total teardown.
Yeah,
Let's not make a mistake.
Right. And here's the thing. What happens? So Jed Hoyer said, this isn't a rebuild. We're not calling it a rebuild, but by necessity, just with the way words work, okay?
Yeah.
If I tear something down, I must rebuild it. The only way to get it back is to rebuild it because I tore it down, right? Like that's not a retool. I'm not putting new windows on the house. I raised the house, RAZED, raised. I bulldozed it to the ground, and now I got to bring it back. Maybe I left like the chimney. Maybe it's like this old farmhouse, and I left the chimney standing or something. You know what I mean? Like maybe I left the foundation that was there. But if you are getting rid of, and when we consider that they did not re-sign John Lester and that they non-tendered Kyle Schwarber, now you've got 5 heroes of the World Series championship potentially. Again, if with Rizzo gone now, it's 3. If Bryant and Baez also go, there's 5 that you had. Now who's left? Contreras, Hayward,
God,
David Ross. You know, I mean, it's man, it's tough, man. It is tough. But I think the issue realistically is that they hung on to everyone all together for so long. So to see them all essentially depart at the same time is the tough part. If you piece that out, or if you get another one of those guys extended, and I guess I was talking position players because obviously they do still have Kyle Hendricks, but if you extend one of those guys at an earlier point, or 2 of them at an earlier point, you can still do a lot of stuff around that, right? You got 25 guys on the roster. It doesn't mean you got to trade literally everybody to start it back over. But
it's like at this point, I mean, and with this trade, with them getting Nick Madrigal, I mean, that's like, it's just an odd piece to get where you're planning, if you were planning on keeping Javier Baez.
Yeah, and Ken Rosenthal just tweeted that the Mets are in discussions on Javier Baez, which is something that we've heard about before, even after I just said earlier in the show that I thought they might not. But we've heard the Javi thing because he could replace Lindor for the time being and then slide over to second or third or whatever. Although I guess they got JD Davis. So the same thing on Bryant. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, right, where they kept saying, no, we can compete. But unless Tom Ricketts decides to just go hog wild in free agency, you're not replacing half your roster with free agents. You know, not big ones, right? Not significant ones. That's not going to happen. Yeah. So I think we have to look at this. Like there's no way. And here's the deal, man. I know some people are talking about like, well, Ricketts, as long as you get people there. There were only 30,000 people there at the ball game yesterday. At most.
Yeah,
right?
I know. It
25,000 to 30. It's not full. Like people say, oh, Ricketts sell out no matter what. It's not full, dude. And if you trade away Anthony Rizzo, Kris Bryant, Javier Baez, everybody else, you think there's a lot of people that are not going to come out to the ballpark to watch this team in the second half or next year. And there's a lot of people that aren't going to tune into Marquee, those that can actually get it. Right. And that's,
well, I mean, yeah, people are going to be going outside, you know, it's like, hey, I guess we just go outside and play catch or, you know, go to the park or
it's a great
whatever.
Time to own a Cubs website, huh?
Yeah. Hey, it's good today. Oh, but tomorrow might not be so good. The next month might not be so good. It depends, right? I mean, it depends on what these guys do, where they go. The Arizona Fall League starts the middle of October, so we still kind of have that coming up. There's going to be a lot more focus on, you know, instead of the big league team, focusing on what the minor leaguers are doing. I mean, there's going to be a lot to work through once this is all said and done and the dust starts to settle a little bit, just from the perspective of ranking, you know, the Cubs minor league system and the players within that system, because you don't really have a lot of data, right? Like minor league baseball was basically canceled last year. There just hasn't been a lot. And a lot of these guys, or some of these guys, there's injuries like we spoke about with Madrigal. And so, you know, and so that's kind of like another year missed for him, which is not good. And so, yeah, there's just a lot to work through here. And so, you kind of right now, I think all you do is just kind of list the names and then figure out kind of where they slot in, probably, in December. Hey, this will give us something to talk about when Major League Baseball and the players are fighting over the new CBA.
Yeah, no shit, I guess. It's interesting. I am seeing some more thoughts out there from people, especially in light of that latest Rosenthal report, which is exactly what I said when we found out it's Madrigal, that it feels like that's the precursor to Javi. But yeah, I mean, we're kind of back to prospect watching. You look back to 20 when not this version of the site, this version of Cubs Insider really started in early 2017. I guess, or late 2016, but really relaunched it with a different look and everything in 2017. But when it really got started back in 2012, 2013 on the Chicago Now platform, the Cubs sucked, and the actual team. I mean, 2013, 14.
Yeah, there was really nothing awful to look forward to.
So it's like, hey, what did Javier Baez do in the minors this time? Javi hit a home run. They drafted Kris Bryant. That's all he had. So there is certainly a little bit of a little bit of pushback to that. There is, and again, if there's there are some opportunities that are going to come up for guys, certainly with the pitching staff, because we're probably going to see Zach Davies moved as well today. So you look at your guys like Justin Steele and Keegan Thompson's going to get stretched out. Some other guys coming up. We're probably going to see Manny Rodriguez. We're going to see probably Ben Leeper. Maybe even Ethan Roberts. Some of these guys finally moving up through the system and getting a chance. And it sucks that it's happening like this, to where you're just like, bloop, get rid of all these heroes.
Well, it's just, can you imagine like what's going on at the Cubs headquarters right now? I mean, like, it's just got to be complete insanity, because just dealing this many players at one time and trying to keep track of what you're doing and what offers you've got coming in. I'm sure if you're talking about trading Javier Baez, trading Kris Bryant too, like in addition to what's happened already, and then go ahead and throw, whoever, you want to throw in there, really seems like, I guess that'd be the end of it, right? I mean, short of like moving Kyle Hendricks, the people that the players they've traded so far, and then Javier Baez and Kris Bryant, and then Davies. But who else could the Cubs trade besides those three in the next hour?
Well, I mean, it feels like you ever had those where you're like, yeah, man, you know what? I need to not have a drink tonight, or I'm just going to have one beer. And then you have one, it goes down real smooth. Then you have another one, and pretty soon you're like, fuck it, we're going for 6. And I kind of feel like Jed Hoyer is getting drunk on trades here. And I say this kind of jokingly, but it's sort of like, at a certain point, like, what? Like I said, are you just going to leave the chimney stand? Like, if Javier Baez is you're just going to leave the chimney standing? Or you knock that some bitch down too, and let's just go. Like, here we go. If the offers are coming, we're getting it going. I don't know why does everybody's shitting on Hoyer as if Tom Ricketts,
this isn't his fault,
right? As if Tom Ricketts is sitting there going like, oh my God, how could you do this? Like, if you're not going to extend these guys, if you're not going to open up the budget to sign extensions, what are you going to do? And if the offers coming in, and we talked about this is a while back, right? But we said, if the offers that are coming in are bigger than what you could possibly get for a qualifying offer for these guys, which they are. Most of these trades have been significantly better than what you could expect from a QO, and obviously with a shorter time frame. And you don't even know what the financial situation is going to be, or whether they might try to negotiate the qualifying offer out of the CBA entirely. If those offers come in, you say, we're not going to re-sign this guy, or maybe we had talked to him. Maybe Anthony Rizzo wants to come back as a free agent. I don't know. I still find those things highly unlikely. But if you look at that, you move with what you've got. But if they say the budget is going to be decreased, you're not going to get these guys signed to extensions. Your possibilities are let their contract expire, slap a qualifying offer on them if it exists, and get that draft pick. Or, hey, the Yankees are giving us prospects who currently, the guys the Cubs got back from the Yankees right now, currently, according to Fangraphs, ranked number 2 and number 11 in the Cubs system. And according to MLB.com, I think they rank like 6th and 9th or something like that.
So that is solid.
Yeah,
that is solid.
And I know people be like, well, but the Cubs don't have a good system. Right, understandable. But the one guy was 7th in the Yankees system or whatever. If you're getting a top 10 prospect and then someone else who's got high upside for Anthony Rizzo, who, let's be totally honest, man, for all that he's meant to the organization, he simply was not. And of course, he went on a home run barrage here in the last week, right? But last season was pretty bad. The season before that, not great. The back has been acting up. He simply wasn't hitting very well this season either, at least not overall. And he got hot there at the end. So you take advantage of that. And that's, I mean, it's, again, it sucks that Anthony Rizzo is no longer a Cub. I don't like it. But at the same time, if I'm looking at things just purely objectively, I think it was a really good deal.
Which you've got to do. And it was a good deal.
Yeah, because I've said on here, I was like, there's no way they're getting top 10 prospects from any of these guys. And
I mean, I'm excited about Kevin Alcantara. This guy, he is legit.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 6'6". He's a monster. My God, he's got a beautiful swing, and he's 19 years old.
Yeah, and the other dude they got,
Alexander Viscayno.
Yeah, Viscayno. I was like, I knew it was a last name I was familiar with. Again, a little bit older, but missed a season from COVID, missed the start of this year for some injuries, but 24-year-old hard thrower, has apparently like a 70 grade changeup. That's the best change in the Yankees system. And, if he works out that third pitch, he could be a starter possibly, but, works as a reliever for now. And that'll play, right? That stuff will play. So, I mean, they're addressing needs. I don't, I want to separate these things, right? I'm going to keep saying this. I want to separate the idea that I want these guys traded versus I have to appreciate the return that they've gotten for them.
It's the reality of the situation. Ken Rosenthal saying Mets are talking about adding a pitcher from the Cubs in addition to Javi, either Zach Davies or Trevor Williams. Deal is not close at this moment.
There you go.
Well, boys, you got about an hour.
Yeah. Well, that's what's funny. It's like, deal is not closed. Like, well, if you got, an hour and 9 minutes, you got 69 minutes. Nice. And so, it'll be interesting.
Passan says breaking, the New York Mets are finalizing a trade to acquire Javier Baez from the Cubs. Deal is pending medicals.
Man.
Damn. You got that?
I can. I got to do it on my phone because if you recall, this is the computer where the keys don't all work. So
okay, you want me to do it?
No, I got it. You keep going.
Okay.
You keep going.
I'll keep rambling on. So yeah, we just got word that's from Jeff Passan that the Mets are finalizing it. I'm not good at pronouncing last names. My name's John. Hi.
John High? That was John Strong.
John High. I'm changing it again. Mets are acquiring Javier Baez from the Chicago Cubs. We do not know anything more than that. It says pending medicals, which not really sure what the flip side. I mean, this is, Passan has tweeted this 2 minutes ago. It's already got 5,000 likes.
There you go.
Ridiculous. And so this news is just coming in right now. So that bums me out. It won't bum me out if they keep Kris Bryant and actually extend Kris Bryant. But if the Cubs are getting rid of Javier Baez and Kris Bryant, they are going to have an exodus of fans. Because you're talking about getting rid of, obviously, Javier Baez, Kris Bryant, and Anthony Rizzo, the three most popular players. I don't get trading Baez, but let's see what the return is. So let's see what the return is. But still, to me, Javier Baez is the most exciting player in baseball. Now, that's obviously not a very objective opinion, but you have to admit Javier Baez puts butts in seats. He sells jerseys. He sells all sorts of different gear for the Cubs. And trading a guy like that is just, I don't know. It just doesn't feel right.
Well, and I mean, how many times have we talked about like the business? They talk about, Rick is cheap, business of baseball, whatever, saving money. But how much money are they going to lose at the gate? And as you mentioned, all these things in exchange for like how much it would have cost to pay him a salary. Because I'm going to go ahead and bet that they'll lose more in gate than they would have paid Javier Baez in annual salary.
Why not trade Jason Hayward? So we got a comment saying, why not trade Jason Hayward?
Well, just so everybody's trade him for whom? For
absolutely what? Clear. We have a player. His name is Jason Hayward. We, the Cubs, have a player called Jason Hayward. He's awful. The Cubs pay him over $20 million, or is it $26 million a year? There is nobody that wants a bad player that's getting paid $26 million a year. So yeah, while the Cubs would like to trade out of this situation, there's just no way it's going to happen. The only way they do that is if they eat his salary. And who wants to trade for Hayward anyways? Like, he literally has no value, even if he was getting paid $1 million. I mean, the guy, he's batting like under 200. Him and Ian Happ are. Whew.
Yeah, it's not good.
Happ, that guy is, I don't know. Like, I don't know. It says Baez and Williams to the Mets pending medicals. Baez and from? Trevor Williams.
Who reported that?
Ken Rosenthal.
Rosenthal, huh? Great.
And Williams to the Mets pending medicals. First with Baez. Feinstein. Harris confirms. A's okay. So yeah, so there you go. Looks like Javier Baez and Trevor Williams are headed to the New York Mets. My goodness. I mean, good for New York, I suppose. I mean, to have Francisco Lindor and Javier Baez on one team is incredible. It really is. I mean, two of the most exciting players in baseball. And when Lindor returns at shortstop, if they can extend Baez and have him at second base, that's just crazy.
Yeah, this is crazy.
This feels like, so I've got two computers going right now, so everybody understands my setup. I've got one over here to the right that has my tweet deck open, and the other that's doing the show. And it's just watching this timeline just refresh as it goes. This is like watching in slow motion, like a multi-car pileup on the freeway.
Yeah, pretty
and
much.
Doing a show about it, basically.
Man.
It's just so much going on. I mean, we're going to be spending the next couple of weeks unpacking this, just as we kind of get.
And I think as I had mentioned, and I'll tell our astute readers out there, in case there are some folks who are, trying to follow me for news throughout the day. Like, as the deadline is hitting, I will be at a title company to refinance our mortgage, and it's also my wife's and my anniversary today, and so. I'm not going to have a whole lot of time this evening. My son's also got a baseball tryout. So
there's a joke in there about you getting married near the trade deadline. I'm just probably not clever enough to come up with it.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there is. I'm also not clever enough to figure it out. But
maybe one of the listeners has a trade deadline, getting married on the trade deadline joke. Probably.
Well, in the past, it wasn't a trade deadline. I got married on July 30th. Normally, it's been on July 31st.
That's true. So they changed the trade deadline to coincide with the fact that it's a Friday. I don't know why they would do that. Like, what is like? Can you not have a trade deadline on a Saturday?
Yeah, I know. Is it Friday news dump, or it's it's wild to me.
For those just chiming in, yes, Craig Kimbrel has been traded to the Chicago White Sox for Nick Madrigal. And trying to keep up with all this stuff, and Cody Hewer. Okay, so infielder Nick Madrigal, Cody Hewer is a right-hand pitcher in the Chicago White Sox system. We're just breaking this all down. Obviously, we only have so much information at the present moment in time until we actually get off the show and start doing research.
Yeah, that's the thing that's kind of wild about it, is we're all sitting here. I'm trying to do this, and it's like operating off the phone is just really not ideal for embedding tweets, but we're getting it there. We're getting it there.
Okay, I can take over if you want me to.
No, I got it. Almost there. Now I just got to put names in it. Look at that. Javi Baez, Trevor Williams, baby. There we go. Man. Bryant's going to be gone, right? I mean, he's going what now? Tampa. I mean, the Mets aren't getting Bryant. I mean, that's got to be Tampa or San Francisco. Which I guess that's like the lone bright spot I have, is that at least he doesn't have to get shipped to New York. Man.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Do you know how his dad feels about the Yankees or just New York in general?
Well, it wouldn't be the
Seeing as
Yankees; it'd be the Mets, and he hates that idea. So
okay.
I think that's. I hate that idea too. I despise the Mets as a franchise. I just think they're so poorly run that I'm glad. I'm not glad to see Javi going there. You know what I mean? That just sucks to me too. So it's rough, man. We'll see. I just pulled up our show on my Facebook as I pulled up Facebook because we're live on there.
Nice.
By accident. So I saw myself looking at my phone in order to set this up. Man. All the dead air is
so a lot flying.
Fun. Yeah, this is it sucks to be right. I mean, obviously it's not as if that Baez trade came out of nowhere, right? Like we kind of
So you've got what this means basically probably means Justin Steele is going to come up and become a starter for the Cubs this season.
Yep.
I think does that mean Cole Stewart?
Stewart's on the 60-day DL or IL.
Oh, not Stewart.
Keegan Thompson.
Keegan Thompson.
He just got sent back down. So, I mean, we'll see what happens there. But I mean, because Davies is going to get moved too, right? I mean, Davies has got to be gone now. They got to move him somewhere. So,
you think that'd be a pretty easy piece to move, but that's not somebody you want to let go for nothing, just for the sake of letting go of him, you know? And it's just like, it's going to be real interesting after all this is said and done, just to see like, who are the Cubs going to, how bad are the Cubs going to be for the rest of this year would be the first question. The second question is, you know, we don't even know what their starting lineup is even going to look like at this point. I mean, you can guarantee that guys like Alcantara, Sergio Alcantara is going to probably stay up for the remainder of the season. You know, but Nico just went on the 10-day DL or IL, whatever. Right.
Yeah. So yeah, he's Bodie, you know, but then who plays for like Patrick Wisdom, and Patrick Wisdom's gonna be first base and Matt Duffy at third. I mean, this is a spring training, like B squad, split squad spring training lineup that we're going to watch for the remainder of the season.
Says this person, D-Shaw, I don't know who it is. Francisco Lindor, Edwin Diaz, and others are hugging, shouting, and laughing at Citi Field right now. Oh, God. Remember those days for the Cubs?
I do. Yeah, I do.
It wasn't that long ago. And here's the thing, man, is that you can be as mad as you want about this and blame Theo and everybody else. At the end of the day, this was about not being able to produce on the field. The Cubs had an opportunity. They did get back there in 2017. They lost to the Dodgers. It wasn't really even a competitive series in the NLCS in 2017. And then they've just kind of failed every year since. And that's on the players. At the end of the day, it's on the players that you're seeing getting traded away right now. And so maybe they go into a different system, but you know, this is a group of players that got together that essentially climbed the Mount Everest of American sports by, you know, being on a Cubs team that won the World Series after 108 years of futility. Once you do that with a bunch of guys, it's like you're on the top of Mount Everest, right? I mean, so you look around and you beat your chest and you're like so pumped about it, and you have parades, and you know, the most people that have ever witnessed an event in human history come out for it. There's no beating that. And that's I think to me, that was kind of the biggest issue is that like you get this huge accomplishment, you get credit for this huge accomplishment, but then like, what's the next thing? Like, even if they would have won another World Series, 2 more World Series, it's just like, how do you get motivated coming off this like incredible high of winning the World Series for the Cubs to do anything? And I think that's where you're seeing, like, that's why we are where we are, right? It's just like hard for these guys mentally probably to really get over the hump and to all do it at the same time. Sad but true.
Yeah. I mean, it's source confirmed. There's another one. Confirms heading toward a deal. Yeah, man, this is just Jesus.
Yeah. I hate losing Javi. I do. And I mean,
well, and the thing, like I said, man, it's what was wild, what remains that way. Like, these are the types of players that one way or the other you could lock up and have as I know a lot of people, like, it's really funny. Again, everybody wants to be either totally emotional or totally pragmatic. And it just, that doesn't, I don't operate that way. Sometimes it goes like, again, you can think this sucks. You can hate losing these guys, and you can look at it and say, oh, that return makes sense. I get why they would do this. But the problem with it, right? And here's where people kind of need to understand this, is that what's leading to it is it's a combination of things. It's not, you can't be like, Jed sucks or Ricketts is cheap. It's a combination of a bunch of things, right? That they didn't develop players very well. They didn't do a good job of building a roster that was balanced enough to continue to compete. And at the same time, ownership pulled the rug from beneath them when they thought they were going to have more money to spend in free agency and to do extensions and that sort of thing. And the budget simply was not there any longer. So a lot of people want to point out, oh, the Cubs have been the top. But yeah, guess what? Their budget this year, their payroll is around $159 million. That's $40 million less from last year, which is about $30 million less than the year before. And right now, they're only on pace to be at about $50 million next year. And now they're going to have to sign people and add to that, of course. But this isn't a single, like, you can't blame any one person. But if you want to go down and get to it, it's the fact that, I mean, quite honestly, ownership has not given the front office the wherewithal to be able to address the needs. And the front office didn't do a great job by any stretch of developing pitching properly. So I wrote about this today in Anthony Rizzo thing. I said, you know, the roster has been imbalanced and is leaning drunkenly on a foundation that is shaky because the owners mined for gold underneath it and left the ground hollow. There's a lot going on here, and there's a lot of ways that we can point the finger of blame. But at the end of the day, to say this had to happen is simply false. It didn't have to happen, but they made it so inevitable that they had no choice.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at things from the perspective of like where the Cubs were coming into this season, it had to happen. But what it took to get there, that did not have to happen. And so that's kind of so we're getting reports now that the Cubs are getting center fielder Pete Crow Armstrong, who is a 19-year-old, very high upside prospect, although he's, again, another guy who's injured. They're trading for guys who are injured.
Yeah. There we go. Who's that coming from?
That's coming from the New York Mets. Pete Crow
Well, no, I mean,
Armstrong.
who is reporting it?
Oh, I'm sorry. I think that was Nightingale.
Oh, okay. So
but he was right
really
about
yeah, he was right on the other one. He was right on one of them. So that's pretty impressive, actually. Man.
So he was right about that. But yeah, so that's, I'm not sure who else they're getting, and I don't know anything about Pete Crow Armstrong, but
they better get a hell of a lot more than that.
Yeah.
I mean, my goodness. It is a little bit weird for the Mets to get Trevor Williams, although he pitched really well his last time out. That's probably about his best start. And his dad and his grandma were there watching him. His grandma got to watch him pitch, and they got traded away. So that feels like
now he's
sense.
Gone.
That
yeah, that is because they were big Cubs fans growing up, right?
Yeah,
their whole family.
Yeah, I mean his dad's from Chicago, so he grew up there, and that's kind of a big deal for them. So
it says Pete Crow Armstrong ranked number 6 in the Mets system. His swing is pretty, and there's a video here from Baseball America that I'm going to watch. Big kid, 19 years old. He's going to grow.
Yeah, they need a bit more than that. I would like to see, but we'll see. We'll see.
I mean, here's the thing: is at the end of the season, we've talked about this a lot on this show. Is a couple things were going to end up happening. Is either the Cubs were going to have these players still and have to make qualifying offers to them. They would either, which may or may not be a thing after the new CBA. If it's not a thing, then the Cubs just would lose the players that they didn't have the ability to re-sign for nothing. What we're seeing happening today, as shocking as it is a far better outcome than I think either of those situations, letting them go for nothing or getting a qualifying offer. And I just don't think you could play kind of Russian roulette with the CBA negotiations, not knowing what the outcome of the QO is going to be, to not do what they're doing today. It's just the chaos that is going on, that is going to be going on this last hour. When are you taking off, Evan, by the way?
I have got to be, well, I got a few minutes that I can handle this. I got to take care of some other stuff in the meantime. So I got about 10 minutes more here. So at some point prior to the deadline. So I'll probably, God damn it, I just saw a picture of Javier Baez with a Mets hat on, and that made me absolutely.
Where's that? Is that on Twitter?
Yeah, but it my timeline refreshed and it went away, and I'm not going to go search it.
That's good. Yeah, I don't need to see that either. I mean, you know, back to the good old days when the Cubs were in the NL East, and they battled the Mets regularly. Like that was the 80s, right?
It would have been, yeah. I mean, it would so 84. That was when the NL East back in the day. And I'm trying to finalize all this. There's a fake passing account that's out there that even freaking Jesse fell for.
Did he?
Yeah, Jesse. Holy cow!
Come on, man. You got to be better than that. You got to at least know how to use the Twitter to know when things are real and when they're fake, and to be able to see there's 3 F's in Jeff Passan, whatever.
Passan. What's tomorrow? I think I am.
So
I'm trying to get. I was supposed to be on Lawrence Holmes' show today, but I was not able to because I had some other stuff going on, and now I got another one here to try to. Minnesota Twins are in agreement on a deal to acquire John Gant. Why would the Twins acquire anybody at this point? They just traded off Jose Barrios. Like, why are they going after relievers? That's kind of weird, but
quick flip.
Yeah, that's weird. So
yeah, so this is just nuts. So I think we have maybe a little bit of downtime here in between trades. Happily, though, it seems that the website is humming along fairly nicely.
Yeah, because it's going to take a big giant dump after all this. Like this will bleed through to tomorrow for a while. That people are going to be like, "The hell are we watching? What is this team?" You know,
and that's my point. Is that these prospects, none of these guys are going to be playing this year,
right? Like, that's literally some of them might not because they're hurt.
Yeah, we've got 2 guys that are injured coming to the Cubs.
Like Pete Crow Armstrong had like serious shoulder surgery. You know what I mean? And Madrigal's not a prospect, but it's like not only are some of these guys not going to play for the Cubs this year, clearly, or for several years, maybe some of them aren't playing baseball, period, for several more weeks or months. So it's this is we are in for again. We're talking 2012, 2013 level type stuff here down the stretch because it's going to be interesting. So buckle up.
I think the big question is, can the Cubs catch the Pirates for last place?
Ooh, boy, they could probably
that'd be a lot of losing.
Yeah, I don't know because they're basically doing the same thing, right now. They're kind of just like, well, we're not trying to win. So, boy, this is rough, man. Yikes!
Let's look at the standings here. I did not say what people are saying. I said it's a fake account. Do not pay attention, Jeff Fasson. Okay, so standings. We're looking at the standings right now. So the Cubs are currently 4 games under 500. Not all that bad, considering they're selling every single player that plays for them right now. And the Pittsburgh Pirates are almost 30 games under 500, 26 games under. No, sorry, I can't do my math. So I don't know, something 38 and 64. A negative 147 run differential.
It's not good.
That is that the word? Well, it's Arizona is minus 150. Man, that's just some losing. So yeah, it's going to be. And the Cubs. Let's keep in mind the Cubs play today, right? They're getting ready to play here. What time do they play?
I don't even know.
Play the Nationals.
They play 7 Eastern, 6
Central.
So I already and I brag on here all the time about how my lineup posts like go in depth on all this stuff. Well, first of all, when I last checked, the Nationals hadn't even put a starter out there, and that may have changed. But the Nats are in the same boat as the Cubs, right? They're trading everybody off right now too. And I mean, they traded away Max Scherzer, Trey Turner, and Kyle Schwarber yesterday, right? And so neither of these teams is going to have shit for players. And I'm like, I'm not doing any research, not to mention there's work to be done on the trade deadline. Like, I'm not researching any of this. The lineup post today is going to be the briefest, the most brief I have ever done, because there's honestly really no point to it. And after all this stuff, like, I've got trade fatigue, and I've got a feeling nobody really gives a shit about what I've got to say about whoever, some, ragamuffin pitcher they're sending out there for Washington, and what this half-ass Cubs lineup is going to do against it. So, yeah. So anyway, just plus I'll be sort of busy with those things that I had detailed earlier. And I got a feeling the lineup's going to be like really late in the making as well. So,
yeah,
who the hell's even going to be on the team?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, David Ross
have they
doesn't
even
know
flown to Washington yet?
Yeah, like, oh my God, because they're trading all these guys away. Like, are they even going to have a roster left? Man,
still not clear if Pete Crow Armstrong is the only prospect coming to the Cubs.
It better not. He better not be.
In exchange for Javier Baez and Trevor Williams.
If you trade away a franchise icon, I mean, that's two of them, dude. This is wild. This is wild. This is this Davio 747 person who keeps commenting is he's
I hope they trade Contreras.
I hope they trade Contreras.
That's dude, not smart.
If you saying Contreras is nothing but a fastball catcher is really foolish. Just flat out. That's just not smart. Also, Contreras, your caps lock key is locked.
Contreras is probably the best catcher in baseball right now.
I mean, and the offensive profile alone is pretty solid, but he's made pretty marked improvements in his actual catching. So let's dial back the fastball only catcher thing just a wee bit. How about that? That would make sense.
Well, and so they're talking about the next time the Cubs play in Wrigley, it's going to be empty. Hey, I got news for you. The next time the Cubs play in Wrigley is going to be this coming Friday, 1 week from today, against the White Sox. So we'll get to see.
There'll be people there, but there'll be a hell of a lot more White Sox fans than normal.
Craig Kimbrel and Ryan Tepera.
Dude.
Pitching for the White Sox.
The only recognizable players are going to be on the other team.
They are.
Obviously, I kid a little bit because the Cubs won't trade literally everyone. But it is going to be an ensemble cast on the north side. This is
yeah,
so weird. Anyway,
it's going to be a very, very interesting to see. I actually have tickets. I was going to go to the White Sox Cubs series. I'm not going to go to it anymore. So they're for sale on Craigslist if anybody wants them.
White Sox fans, baby.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's going to be a reality check, dude, because I will tell you, what do you think? Half or do you think the White Sox fans are going to outnumber Cubs fans?
It's possible. It's possible because I mean, how many other people are doing the same thing? I mean, you're not even going to physically be there, but like, how many other people are doing the same thing and selling the tickets that they'd gotten? You know what I mean? Like, how many people got excited? May was it May 26th that Wrigley opened up to 100%? Was that the date? May 26th, I think. And
I don't remember.
And the Cubs were playing really well in May, right? As you recall.
Yeah.
Opening day 2.0, all that stuff, or was it June? Wasn't that was in June 12th, something like that?
Yeah, but the tickets went on sale in May. Like it worked out real well.
But that's what. So they were all hyped up. They were doing really well in May. People got to buy tickets because it was going to be at 100% capacity from that point. And I have a good feeling a lot of those people are looking to back away from those tickets that they had purchased for August and September. And here's the thing, like, yeah, right there. And we've talked about this before as well, but we gave up our season tickets partially because it just wasn't a good business expense for us any longer. It didn't make any sense. We could just go out and buy our own individually if we needed to, and instead of having like 10 grand of an investment that you can't make back up. And I think there's no better time than ever. And of course, COVID hastened that, but I'm happier than ever that we no longer have season tickets, because you want to talk about an investment that is going to just lose money. Dude, that's just a whole, because there's no way in hell. And other season ticket holders are doing the same thing. The Cubs have seen an exodus in that already, and now they're seeing even more of one. And so let's refrain. If you're there on Facebook, let's stop from some of the really, I don't mind if people are cursing, but let's kind of keep it at least somewhat close to like a PG-13 rating, maybe. Anyway, it's there are just some issues, man, and they are going to be bleeding season ticket holders. And the thing is, unlike 10 or even 15 years ago, they make up whatever numbers they want about the waiting list. And a lot of people get on the Cubs season ticket waiting list just to be on there because it's like, you're number 37,000. Oh, I'll never move up. And then magically, when it comes to like, your name got,
you get a call.
No, I know you didn't go through 36,000 people. I know that's not real. And not all those people are on there with the ability or even the actual desire to buy it. It's just a cool thing to be on there. I was one of those people at one point. There's no way in hell they're making up all those season ticket holders and bringing them back. That's not going to happen. All right, this dude just keeps saying the same thing. Hey, Corey Hurlbert, maybe dial it down a little bit there, buddy.
I'm kicking him off.
Okay. And so,
sorry, Corey, you've been removed.
And
so
I mean, I don't necessarily, it's just like really weird. Like to even say stuff like it. But anyway, this is gonna be tough, man. And because now you're not only trying to rebuild the team, they're gonna have to rebuild a lot of the fan base and rebuild a lot of the trust with this. And it's not gonna. It wasn't easy the first time, and there were a lot of people that were pissed the first time they went through a rebuild, which is kind of funny because like you knew it had happened and it was entirely different. Like it was an entirely different scenario. And now for the second time within 10 years to try to do this, when you've added all this stuff in there, when you've added all these and gotten the television network and bought all the rooftops and put in all these amenities and spent this money, and then on top of that, you charge the highest ticket prices in baseball, that's where the problem comes in. The problem is not that you're asking people to be patient. The problem is that you're asking them to pay a very premium price while also being patient with a shitty team that is not going to compete well on the field. And when you trade it away, literally, if Bryant's gone, between Bryant, Baez, and Rizzo, there might be like 2 Cubs fans in the world whose favorite player is not among that trio. Right?
I think my son has a new favorite player. It's Patrick Wisdom.
Yeah, well, now he's going to have to be everybody's favorite player, right?
And I was like, this is great. This is going to work out well for you.
We just, by default, he will now be your favorite player. And I think, and there are some good guys on the team, but I mean, it's like you just immediately just took out and some people will go there for just to be able to watch those players, right? To have something like, I want to go watch Javier. I'm going to buy a ticket to watch Javier Baez play baseball. I'm not even a Cubs fan. I'll go watch. I'm not saying me personally, but people would go. He's a guy people would pay money to see. And it is
just him.
This is impressive. It's impressive, man.
Yeah, so it's that, and that's the thing is so we're still waiting to hear word on. I mean, basically, the only person we're waiting to hear word on right now is Kris Bryant, right? That's the last domino to fall.
The last big one, but yeah, Davies will be traded. I think that's a big one.
Yeah,
relatively big. I mean, he's a starting pitcher, so
and the rest of the season. I mean, listen, the best players on the Cubs right now are going to be like Ian Happ and Jason Hayward.
Yeah, Patrick Wisdom is better than both of them.
That's true. But you got Nico on the. I mean, who's going to be our shortstop now? Nico's hurt. Is it Alcantara and Bodie? I guess right.
Alcantara is going to have to be. So, I'm addressing this again because I'm seeing it from this Davey O guy. Bryant doesn't get to elect free agency. He will be a free agent at the end of the seat period. He doesn't elect it if he's not re-signed, and if he's traded. I mean, he will be a free agent. So they're not, it's not that he won't. It's that they won't give him a contract. Like, this is very different. They won't give him the money that it's because they wouldn't do it for Javi. They wouldn't do it for Rizzo. This isn't a Bryant thing. This is a Cubs thing, right? You can talk about offers and whether they were or they weren't. I think it's fairly clear that this stuff is not really working out quite so well. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean that's a funny thing, Like I went to the last 7 home games with the family, and you were sitting in the bleachers, and Chris, we were sitting in left field because right field sucks, as everyone knows. And Bryant's in left field, and you got people yelling, "Kris, don't leave the Cubs." And it's just like, it's not his choice. You understand how trades work, right? It's like,
Right.
Kris Bryant doesn't have a no trade clause. He has to go wherever Jed Hoyer sends him. That's kind of part of the deal. And so it's not that like Kris Bryant wants to leave. In fact, I would say that Kris Bryant probably would prefer to stay. But, given the situation that we're seeing unfold here today, it's like, if I'm Kris Bryant, I probably want to get out too, because listen, these guys want to win the World Series, and this Chicago Cubs team is not going to win or compete for a World Series for 4, 5, 6 years.
What are the and somebody brought this up, and I had written a little bit about this, and it made somebody really mad. I think somebody who might even still be watching the show who failed to read the piece, but I think it'd be interesting for the Cubs to just go out and try to trade for Eric Hosmer just to pull and pay for his salary just to get the Padres to throw in prospects. I'm not the one that came up with it, right? For all you fools who don't know how to read and choose not to read, I did not come up with this idea, but the idea is out there that they're looking to trade him and that they would package high-end prospects to do so. Well, guess what? Cubs don't have a first baseman anymore, and they've only got $40 million on the books next year. They could go up. It doesn't matter. They could pay the hell out of him. Who cares? Pay him and cut him. They've got money out there. So it is it is wild. So, that could happen. That could absolutely happen. So
someone out there, please fire Crane Kenny while you're at it.
That's a good idea I can get behind, because the business operations department, I've been attacking them for the last over 10 years. Around 10. I think it's been a good decade at this point. And they've been running this thing into the ground pretty thoroughly the entire time that Ricketts has been there as an owner. And again, I'm not going to take any heat off him, but the business operations department and their PR has not been great. It has simply not been ideal in any shape or form.
What's real? So I mentioned, you have kids. I've got a 7-year-old and 9-year-old boy who my 7-year-old has proclaimed that he will not be a Cubs fan if Anthony Rizzo gets traded. And he is now a Padres fan, apparently. That might be my fault because I bought him a Padres hat a while ago. But whatever, the Padres are fun. It's his deal. It's his choice.
Wait, the Padres spend money on good players, right? Is that what they do? Okay.
And they trade for good players.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought
without giving up top prospects.
Yeah. Surprise. And
so that's the thing is that what impact is all these trades? If you literally get rid of like 95% of the jerseys that are out there are getting traded today, for current players, right? Nobody has a jersey, a Jason Hayward jersey. Nobody has, maybe there's a couple people with a Nico Horner jersey. But, it's Kris Bryant, it's Javier Baez, it's Anthony Rizzo. Those 3 players probably make up 90% plus of the current players who people like to wear their jerseys. And so
I'd say Contreras is the only other one. He is probably going to stay. But here's the thing. For how long? Do they extend him? Because if they're not going to compete for another 2 years, he's only under contract for 1 more year.
Yep.
And that's the guy with the most value. I would not be shocked at all if they move on him in the winter. I would not be surprised. They could maybe extend him, but again, if they think and Miguel Amaya has been hurt, so he's not coming up to do anything. But again, wouldn't shock me, not even in the least, if they ended up trying to trade him in the winter and saying, you know what, because we've only got 1 more year with you, we're not going to extend you. And I've brought this up before, man. As much as people love him, and we talked him up earlier on here. But you get a catcher who's getting on the wrong side of 30 by the time that contract comes to an end, and by you're looking at extending him, especially for someone who relies so heavily on his athleticism. Do you trust that to continue moving forward? Do you move him out to first base? Do you think you can do that? That's possible, but it's it's wild. So we'll see.
Definitely. All right, so we do have to end the show at some point, so we should probably just go ahead and do that right now before there's something else comes across the the line. We've got about 30 minutes left until the trade deadline is over. So turn on MLB Network, refresh your Twitter feed, and be nice to each other. For God's sakes, kids read this stuff too. There's no there's no restrictions on who can go on Facebook and everything like that. So just try not to be a jerk today, everyone. That sounds
good. That sounds like a good plan.
That's my sometimes not as easy to accomplish as it is to say. But yeah. So anything to add, Evan?
No, that's it. I got a very, very busy evening ahead of me. So I'm gonna steel myself for the next 30 minutes and just give you the heads up to be on that duty. We'll just keep in touch and see what happens, and I can probably get this all figured out. So in what is his most measured post of the day, I will respond to this. So as Davey O over there has asked, who got traded and where? So if we start back from, well, we could go back to yesterday. So Anthony Rizzo got traded to the Yankees for an outfielder and a pitcher. Craig Kimbrel traded to the White Sox for a second baseman and a pitcher. Javier Baez and Trevor Williams got traded to the Mets for all we know is an outfielder who had shoulder surgery and is out the rest of the time. We know
number 5 prospect.
Number 5 overall prospect. And then, we got a few more people left. And then obviously we have, Ryan Tepera went over to the White Sox also for a lefty pitcher, minor leaguer. And then Andrew Chafin went out to the Athletics for a couple of prospects as well. So those are the moves so far. I would expect to see Kris Bryant and Zach Davies still moved, maybe even Jake Marisnick, who knows. Yes, Trevor Williams did go with Baez for anybody who asked that.
Yep.
So, yep.
Yeah.
So that's it. So I'm done. I'm out.
Most of it's done. There's one more big one to fall, and when it does, we'll be on it for you guys. So check out the site, and until then, I'm sure we'll circle back next week, maybe on Monday or something like that, just to kind of just sort through this.
I gotta feel like I'm gonna go ahead and just tell you now rather than texting you later. Like, this weekend is probably not gonna be my best for content. I'll go ahead and throw that out there.
I don't know that there's going to be all that much to cover, to be honest with you.
I mean, it's going to be, we're going to talk about who they, you know what I mean? But it's like,
be the minor league guys. So. The minor league guys now are kind of the main thread of Cubs Insider and every other Cubs website at this point is who are these guys?
Hopefully we get
where are they going? Where are they going to play? The ones that are healthy.
Yeah.
So where do they fit into the Cubs system? Where do they rank in the Cubs system?
Who's Jason?
A lot.
What are we talking about? Jason? What?
A lot to work out.
Jason who? I don't understand this Jason. Are you talking about somebody named Jason? Have we talked about somebody named Jason?
I don't know.
Okay.
All right. That's enough. That's been enough craziness for the day.
That's enough.
Hey, it's been fun, everybody.
See you later.
We'll be here. The Cubs aren't trading us. They cannot trade us.
Have a good weekend.
Bye.